Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Swanee and I'm yet again joined by my friend Cookie, and for today's Helldivers 2 video we're going over the latest buff that was revealed earlier this morning. We're going to touch up on yesterday's buff to the Eruptor since we missed yesterday, and we'll be going over a couple of replies from the developers that we found to be pretty interesting. So Cookie, I'm going to pass it over to you. What buff did the developers reveal was coming to the game in just 2 days from now?
It is the Arc Thrower. The Arc Thrower is going to be adding a moderate stun effect to it, as well as the range getting increased from 35 to 55, and the durable damage being increased from 50 to 100. Here is the entire video where the developers talk about the new buff.
Some people love it, some people hate it. It's the Arc Thrower.
Yeah, so we're bringing it back closer to its former glory, plus them some more. Range is now currently 35 meters. We took it up to 55. It will jump additional times and branch off.
And that includes your friends as well.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So more volatile, more powerful, kill your friends.
Yeah, and it has the stun effect.
Oh, right.
So yeah, again, this is another weapon that has been nerfed in the past that is being buffed back to its original glory. Most of the patch notes that they've revealed so far have been just that. And I gotta say, personally, I wasn't someone who used the Arc Thrower before. I certainly didn't use it after, but I didn't really think it needed to be nerfed, so bringing it back to its former glory with a little bit of extra abilities kind of makes sense to me.
I mean, this is actually going to be way stronger than when it was originally, which is nuts. It's going to jump to additional targets, it's going to have increased range, and it's just going to be even more powerful. So I'm excited. I used to use the Arc Thrower before they nerfed it, and it felt really fun, and especially combined with the Blitzer shotgun, I would just have a full like electric build, and I haven't been able to use that build in a long time because the Arc Thrower just didn't feel powerful enough. So I'm glad they're changing this. This gives me a reason to use the Arc Thrower again, and I feel like that's kind of the whole point of this update, is to give us variety. If every weapon is getting buffed and feels fun to play with, then I'm not forced to use, you know, the same 3 stratagems over and over and over. So I'm excited for this. I think this is going to be a great change.
Yeah, I think this offers for a lot of different things. Like, they do warn, though, that there is a very high likelihood of you killing your friends with this. It doesn't look like they've done anything to make that less likely to happen. And also, like, the arc armor that, like, I think it deflects like 95% of armor. No one ever, or excuse me, 95% of arc damage. No one ever uses that because no one ever uses arc weapons. So that might give that a little bit of a boost in being used again. So that would be kind of nice too.
All right, so next up, I want to talk about the Eruptor changes that happened yesterday since we took yesterday off. The developers talk a little bit more about that as well. So here we're going to play that video for you guys.
Nobody asked for it, but we did it anyways. And that is the Eruptor.
Yes.
We brought the shrapnel back.
Yeah, we finally had time to do it properly. When it was introduced, it actually had the wrong shrapnel. It did over 9,000 in damage.
Yeah. It's over 9,000.
Now it won't do that much, but it still has a lot of shrapnel.
Did you remove the explosion?
No.
So it's explosion and shrapnel.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So this is pretty big for the Eruptor. It's basically going to be almost as powerful as what it was at launch. I mean, them adding that shrapnel back, obviously it's not going to have the same shrapnel as before, but the shrapnel's a big deal. Like, this gives you the ability to take out multiple enemies at the same time, and a lot of people love that about the Eruptor. I personally haven't used the Eruptor in months because they nerfed it to oblivion, so I'm pretty excited for this change.
This would probably be the first one. I don't know if I disagree with it, but I'm not as crazy about this one because I don't think the Eruptor's bad. Like, right now, that's one of the few guns that I think is usable in the game, especially against the automatons. It's basically a sniper rifle, and a pretty powerful one at that. So adding this extra stuff, it's like, all right, that's fine. They can do it, assuming the shrapnel is fixed now and actually works the way they want it to. I'm not angry about it. This one just seems the least necessary because I don't think this is a gun that they nerfed into oblivion like every other gun that they've been rebuffing and stuff. So I wouldn't say I'm against it, but this one is a little bit of a surprise because it's one of the few guns in the history of this game that I actually thought needed a nerf because when it came out in April, it was just ridiculously strong. That was actually a nerf that garnered its nerfing. And I don't know if they really needed to do this, but it's fine. I just hope this isn't going to be exactly the same as it was in April, or else it's just going to be overpowered and it's going to overshadow any other weapon that gets buffed if it is just returning to what it once was.
I think we disagree a little bit on this one, just because I'm excited to test out everything that's getting buffed. I fully expect this update just to put the game into easy mode and us to just bully everything, and I'm fine with that. I could just put it on Helldive 10 and just have a good time. And then if it's too easy, I fully expect the devs to just make changes over time, maybe add an even harder difficulty mode. But I don't know. I'm excited for the Eruptor, and if it's too powerful, I'm sure it'll get some tweaks.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do it on this one, but we'll see what it turns out being. Like I said, they're changing it, so I can't say it's exactly going to be the same as it was back in April, but we'll see how it turns out. Speaking of nerfs, there was an interesting post that Twinbeard, one of the community managers on Discord, on the Helldivers Discord, put up in response to someone asking, again, which has been a recurring question, if the game is going to be too easy with all of this stuff, and asking if there will be any more nerfs and stuff. And Twinbeard said that, I hear you, will there be more nerfs? Of course there will. Anytime you balance a ton of things, others will need looking over as well. That being said, this patch will see a lot more buffing in general. It will focus on making guns and equipment feel more viable, making you vulnerable if you mess up, while letting you do more damage and be more effective when you have the right tools for the job. Better dynamics, and we hope, more fun. So this is interesting because it's definitely not something they're talking a lot about the fact that there will be some nerfs in this update too. And the other element of this that I think is interesting is he talks a lot about this making you vulnerable if you mess up. Like there might be more opportunities to kill yourself in this game by accident as well with the new update that they're doing. That's kind of hinted to in the Eruptor and the Arc Thrower buff too. So I actually wonder if there's going to be a lot more friendly fire after this update. Like if that becomes a bigger issue that people need to worry about.
I mean, the next Warbond is all gas stuff, so I would imagine so. But I just hope, like him saying that they're going to nerf stuff, I just hope the community doesn't overreact here and be like, well, you promised you weren't going to nerf anything anymore. I feel like the community's in a spot right now where it became popular to hate Helldivers, and I feel like any nerf going forward is just going to be pitchforks and people like, oh, you said you weren't going to do it ever again. And that's just not realistic. Like, if they buff something too big, like, they still have to do balancing changes. So if something's too powerful, I fully expect it to be toned back a little bit. And I don't think that's going to sit very well with the community.
I think my issue is I'm just not sure what they need to nerf right now. I mean, other than the orbital Nabelheim barrage, which we don't even have, I don't think there's anything in this game that's probably OP.
Well,
so I don't know what the nerf would be.
It's because they're making changes to the way that armor penetration works, and I think with them doing that, it's going to make some weapons more powerful than they were originally, and it's probably, they don't want you to completely shred a charger through armor penetration with like an SMG, for example. So it's probably something along those lines.
Well, the problem with that is that's kind of what they tried to do with the last patch, the flame patch, when they reduced the flame damage severely, and they basically just made flame useless. So they don't have a very good job of, like, I understand that things need to be nerfed in the game. They just haven't done a great job with that because when they nerf something, they've nerfed it into oblivion. It's one thing to make it a little less effective. That way it's not broken, but they haven't been able to do that effectively lately. So, I mean, if they do all this and then say, all right, now we're in, like, the armor is 1,000 times harder to get through or something, it's probably going to destroy the entire update. So they got to be careful with these nerfs. I'm not saying they can't do them. They just have not had a good record of dealing with nerfing things. They tend to just completely destroy them, which is obviously not what you want to do. So I'm not sure what these nerfs will be. And it's a little concerning to me, to be honest. But I will just have to see what it does. You gotta trust them; they know what they're doing. They're doing a lot more testing this time around, so that hopefully they'll be able to tell if something's messed up when they try to nerf it.
Yeah, but I guess we'll just find out in 2 days. Okay, so the final thing I want to talk about in today's video is there's this post on Reddit, and it says, "What is this panel for?" because I'm sure all of you guys have probably wondered this at some point. It's right behind the armory. And one of the developers actually responded to this and said, we have some plans for it, which is pretty interesting. So who knows what that could mean? Maybe they're working on more customization options. Maybe this is a terminal where we could have like different weapon upgrades or something. What do you think it is, Cookie?
I have no idea. It could be, I mean, there's so many different options for what they could do with it. I find it interesting how many of these things, I honestly think they expected to have given us this content by now, because this released in the game and everything. I figured this is something that they would have expected that we would have already had access to, but they spent so much time fixing the game that there's so much stuff that I think has gotten pushed and pushed and pushed. So I find it ironic for that. I think it could honestly be literally anything. It'll be some sort of upgrade panel to give us some sort of upgrades, I assume. I wasn't thinking it would be something totally different, like a whole nother section that runs entirely different, but I mean, it'd be cool if it was. It's probably just another like upgrade thing that we can use samples to buy for.
All right, so let us know what you guys think this panel could be used for down in the comment section down below. And that is going to do it for everything in today's update video. If you guys are new here, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any future Helldivers 2 videos. And that is going to do it for us, and we will talk to you guys next time. So, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.